This is the Gen Y Leaders Podcast. Welcome to the Gen Y Leaders Podcast, where we guide millennials to become the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Eric Huey, and multiple times a month, we bring you interviews from high-performing millennials who are challenging perceptions and changing expectations of our generation. Our mission is to help you overcome fear, take action, and go confidently in the direction of your dreams. It's time to start preparing now, mainly because 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every day, which will create a vacuum of career opportunities that you've been waiting for. Will you be ready? Dave, welcome to the Gen Y Leaders Podcast.
Hey, thank you, Eric. Glad to be here. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time out of your morning. Dave, you are, of course, one of our mentors for Mentor Month. I know you have a very unique perspective on a certain topic that I was interested in. And that's this concept of a big reason why I started the podcast is this, silver tsunami and baby boomers retiring every single day, 10,000 of them for the next 10 years. And what that's going to do to the market in terms of opportunities for millennials, not only in the corporate sector, but also those millennials who are looking to perhaps buy businesses. So if you could just, start a little bit on that topic of who you are and what you do for the audience, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Dave Swob. I am the owner of Summit Exit Advisors. We work with business owners to help them plan the successful transition from their businesses. So what that could mean is helping someone prepare for sale, helping someone prepare for a transition to a child working in the business, to a key employee, prepare to transition to an ESOP, or even preparing for liquidation, which we're doing right now, unfortunately, with someone.
Yeah.
But our primary focus is on maximizing and protecting owner value, minimizing risk, minimizing taxation on the backside of that transaction, and then asking the questions around what do you want your legacy to look like as you transition out of your business?
Yeah. One key question I ask every guest is, what's your why? I mean, why do this? I think you're in a different field to start off with, why transition to helping people exit their businesses?
That's a great question. So I'll give you the long and the short of it. So in 2017, God broke my heart by allowing me to witness two of our clients simultaneously almost go out of business for almost the same situation. Both 40-plus-year-old companies, Central Kansas, not large companies, they were smaller, 12 to 15 employees, but both got hit by an unexpected health crisis in their lives, didn't have any business continuity plan in place, hadn't trained key employees to run the business in their absence. And within 60 days, one of those businesses was done. And the other one took 90 days to go out. And unfortunately, just a rough situation. Those employees had to find new jobs, new sources of income. Their customers had to find new trusted relationships. And those families had to scramble to find new sources of income as well.
Yeah.
Huge bummer. And then, so 2018, 2018. 2018, God started just inspiring me with a plan to pursue helping baby boomers specifically, but any business owner who wants to transition out of their business, needs to transition out of their business, and help them to finish well. Yeah. And I prayed about it for a good year and a half, and visited with a lot of trusted advisors, people that are ahead of me, a little older than I am, to really seek their counsel on what I was hearing, what God was really confirming in me as far as my skill set, my experience, my education, and then the passion He had given me, obviously, to be a servant. He kind of melded my pastor's heart with my entrepreneurial mind and my passion for business, and kind of put it all into one. And as I pursued that in prayer and in conversation, I thought I knew something about this, having exited 3 of my own businesses successfully before, and even transitioned one of them through a liquidation. So a little bit of defeat there as well. I thought I knew quite a bit about this industry.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I pursued my CEXP credential, which is Certified Exit Planning
Mm-hmm.
credential, that I realized the other 85% that I didn't even know, Eric.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did upon leaving corporate America was pursue that credential so I can advise my clients well. But
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how I got into this space, and kind of the calling that led to my why.
Yeah. Thanks for the background. Really appreciate that. So let's start with this. I mean, I, of course, kind of set the stage and you gave some great details. I mean, is my assumption correct? Is there this, great opportunity? Will this, will there continue to be great opportunity for millennials who are interested in buying businesses who don't want to start something from scratch?
Mm. So to answer your question, the answer is yes. There is a massive opportunity
Mm-hmm.
for Gen Y, Gen X to buy businesses right now.
Yeah.
There are more businesses for sale, and will be even more to come. I'll give a little statistic. There are 78 million baby boomers. There are of those baby boomers own about 5.5 million of the 9 million businesses that are out there, small businesses to medium-sized businesses in the U.S.
Crazy.
So to give you an idea, and that they are in a place right now where they're excuse me, I'm trying to get my
Yeah, you're
screen
fine.
to cooperate.
Take your time.
They're at the 50-year surge of baby boomers, starting businesses, growing those businesses, and then retiring. It's here. That surge of baby boomer growth has come to an end, and those baby boomers have to transition.
Yeah.
And right now, there are, like I said, there are more businesses to sell than are actually selling.
Mm-hmm.
More businesses to buy than are actually selling. So right now, 1 out of every 5 of those businesses that are advertised to sell are selling.
Wow.
So the other ones are going to go somewhere. Something's
Right.
going to happen. They're going
Yeah.
to close down. They're going to liquidate.
Yeah.
Not a great future potentially for them.
Right. That's an amazing statistic. So I appreciate you sharing that. That definitely confirms my thoughts. So I guess from the millennial perspective, what's enticing about this? What are some advantages for, someone young and hungry who wants to be an entrepreneur, but doesn't want to have that quote unquote learning curve of, ramping up a business, scaling it up from, virtually anything, zero, starting from scratch. What are some advantages for someone who wants to buy?
Boy, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Baby boomers, one thing that can't be denied or overlooked is that baby boomers are typically really hard workers.
Mm-hmm.
They've grown up in the school of hard knocks. They're going to succeed at all costs. They have sacrificed everything to start and run these businesses and guide them to success. They have learned a lot of things the hard way, and a millennial can learn from a baby boomer and really sidestep a lot of mistakes, a lot of heartache, physically, personally, emotionally, relationally, financially, certainly,
Yeah.
by either partnering with or just even buying the business from a baby boomer. They've got a ton to offer, a ton of wisdom to offer.
Yeah.
When you think about the established brands that we all know and are aware of too, I mean, when you've got a brand that's out there with 30, 40, possibly 50 years worth of traction, there's a giant advantage into stepping in and picking up where that brand left off.
Oh, yeah.
And let's be honest, millennials bring some innovation quite often
Mm-hmm.
to the marketplace that maybe a baby boomer business owner has overlooked, and
Yeah.
maybe they've quit growing, they've quit reading, they've quit learning.
Mm-hmm.
And millennials bring a lot of technological advancement,
Yeah.
and even just marketing and alone, and some of the opportunities that millennials are really good at, are second nature for a millennial, that are so far removed from a baby boomer.
Yeah, I'm glad you hit on that, because that was going to be my next question as far as, what are some of those skill sets? And I think you hit the nail on the head as far as marketing and social media. I mean, some of older baby boomers who, never had the time or interest to really get, widespread attention for their business online, social media, website, email, newsletters, things like that. I think that could be a area of opportunity where a millennial could bring their skill sets to the table.
No doubt. Yeah.
So besides, having that hard work mentality and following the footsteps of baby boomers and kind of bringing some new innovation and skill sets to the table, are there any other, general skill sets that come to mind for someone who would be stepping into a position like this as far as taking over a business?
You mean skill sets they need, or?
Yeah, skill sets they need. Yeah.
Okay. Um, people skills are huge.
Yeah.
Every one of us, we've got strong points and we've got weak points.
Right.
We've got our rough edges. And, as I continue to study and learn myself, studying authors like Brene Brown, and learning how to be courageous in various situations, regardless of the age group you might be dealing with, but just really understanding how each generation kind of functions and how to best communicate and work alongside of those various generations. In a workplace, many workplace businesses have got 3 generations working side by side right now. You got baby boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials, and then probably even possibly 4. You got the Gen Y folks that are right there as well.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. So definitely the people skills, but I would say even time management skills would be very, very important. Team building skills. And then the last really big one, and I probably should have said this first, but just leadership skills.
Yeah.
And that would be leadership of not only the organization and your team, but even leadership of yourself and the disciplines that it's going to take to be a business owner, rather, and to lead an organization and to gain and maintain the respect of your peers as you lead that business.
Yeah, that's great advice. So from a financial perspective, I know this is a big question for any millennials that this is sparking interest with. Not everyone's got duffel bags of cash, and especially millennials being hit by, steep student loans and entering, housing markets when, fresh out of college when things were high priced and whatnot. So, not everyone has duffel bags of cash. So what are some of these financial structures that you usually set up that allow someone to take over a business, but not break the banks right off the bat, so to speak?
That's a great question. So I'm often, as I talk to business owners, a baby boomer business owner, doesn't really matter who it is. Everyone thinks they want this giant lump sum of money. Like, let's say the business is worth $2 million. Everyone thinks that somebody's going to show up with a suitcase or a bag and hand it to them, and they're going to literally jump on their Harley Davidson or get in their convertible and run off in the sunset. And that is not usually the case. Very rarely is that the case. So the opportunity as I work with business owners and business buyers, the opportunity is a couplefold. One, an owner can actually do some owner financing and actually help out the potential buyer, which is a big deal. That deal can also be structured to where we're able to minimize taxation by the way we structure that buyout. Yeah. There's several ways to do that. But the other component of that is that there can be a performance factor where, let's say, the millennial buyer of that business is able to purchase that business based on the performance of that company, based on profits, and to really help them gain traction, gain ownership, and build their equity in that company slowly over time. There's risk in it for both parties. If I'm an owner, if I'm advising an owner, I am going to recommend that there be some form of skin in the game up front, and as the new buyer is building equity in that company. But there's just a giant opportunity around owner financing, and banks will finance a portion of that as well. So that may be where that skin of the game comes from up front for, let's say, 20% of the initial purchase price.
That makes sense. I appreciate the overview there. I think that hopefully gives people some better perspective that, again, you don't have to show up with a duffel bag of cash like you alluded to, and everybody's just going to part ways after the deal's done. I guess next question would be, how can millennials go about finding businesses for sale? I think we alluded to this earlier as well, but I think millennials tend to have the blinders on, so to speak, in terms of everything technology driven and online, and that if you're not building a software company or the next Facebook or an app or something like that, that you can't build a business or buy a business. So could you, I guess, broaden our horizons or perspective on that as far as businesses that are for sale and where to go about finding these?
That's a great question. Obviously, various networking groups is one way. You can go out and do the networking on your own, trying to meet business owners there through various chambers of commerce, Rotary clubs. There's 1,000,001 networking groups around Kansas City. You can also talk with various merger and acquisition folks. You can meet with business brokers. You can certainly talk with someone like myself. I meet with business owners daily. CPAs usually have a pretty wide list of owners that they know are going to be in that space. So those are just to name a few. Financial advisors would probably also have a list of business owners that might be interested. But I'd say the number one thing, Eric, is as a millennial researches and looks for the business to buy, is making sure that they're obviously looking to acquire a business in a space that they're passionate about, not just based on the dollars. A couple points I'd like to point out. As the number one way, a suggestion or advice I would give to a younger buyer, and it really doesn't need to be a younger buyer. It could be someone in their 50s buying a business for the first time. So I deal with those folks as well. Is to see if you can work alongside that business owner to really understand what their day-to-day life looks like, and understand the level of commitment they have, the hours they work, the hours that they don't work, what their vacation time looks like, the level of stress they carry, the expenses that they incur. I think we can all look at a business and go, okay, that owner's making $400,000 a year, so I should probably jump in and make $400,000 a year as well. And that typically won't be the case for many, many years. So as long as people understand that up front too, that's a really important thing to look at.
Especially when they're doing the financing model, I imagine that it's going to take time to build that equity and pay off the original owner and whatnot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any books, people, or resources that you'd recommend people getting in touch with?
Oh my goodness. There's several. So on the buy side, there's not many books that I'm really reading and recommending right now. On the sell side, I've got the Exit Planning Definitive Guide by John Brown. And it's selling your business when you want, for the money you need, to the person you choose, which is a really big deal. There are so many things that can go wrong when you go to sell that business, and timing wise, employee wise, that there's a lot to know, and which is where I pride myself on guiding someone through that process. So,
Dave, where can people best get a hold of you at?
So, Eric, the best place to reach me is either by email at dave@summitexitadvisors.com, or my phone number is 913-267-1471. And I'm here in Overland Park, Kansas. So I travel the whole United States, but reside here.
Awesome. Dave, thanks so much for your time, and thanks for being one of our mentors for Mentor Month on the Gen Y Leaders podcast.
Eric, thank you. I really enjoyed our time together.
That wraps up today's episode. We hope to have brought you some valuable key takeaways. Most importantly, whatever you learned, take action on it. Apply it to your life. Apply it to your career. Motivation and inspiration only come as a result of taking that first step. So if you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe on whichever platform you found the show. You can also follow us on all the major social media platforms, or contact us directly at genwhyleaders@gmail.com. That's GENWHY leaders@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Eric Huey, and thanks for listening to the Gen Y Leaders podcast.